Good afternoon, guys, and happy Saturday to all of your sunshiny faces, guys. It's 10 o'clock. I am pooped. I'm ready for bed. I was up this morning, 7:30, before my alarm clock even went off. And on top of that, too, yesterday I woke up at 7:50 or 7:45, like right before my alarm went off. And it normally goes off, I think, at like 7:50 or 8 o'clock. So I was up kind of early yesterday morning. And then I went to bed at 1 o'clock last night. I think that's right around when I fell asleep, which, like, lately I've been going to bed a lot around like 11 or so. Normally I'll like take a shower about 10 or 10:30, and then I'm in bed normally by like at least 11, normally asleep by 11:30 or midnight. Last night I don't think I fell asleep until a little after 1 o'clock. So stayed up a little too late, and then this morning again I woke up at 7:30. So anything really before 8 o'clock for me is kind of early. But the reason I got up early was because me and my dad were going to go to Menards, and then we were going to go to Aldi, or no, Valley Produce, and then to Aldi, which was fine. So Aldi doesn't open until 9 o'clock. So we ended up leaving the house, I think, right at, literally just pretty much right at 8 o'clock. So I was like, okay, we have 1 hour to go to Menards and Valley Produce before Aldi opens. Because that's kind of normally been a pain, because we have to try and plan, like, we get up early, you know, and Aldi doesn't open until 9 o'clock. So we're kind of just like hanging around for, you know, a little while. You know, I mean, last week I think I woke up kind of early too, but again, it's that gotta get up early, and you know, so we can get stuff done and stuff. But it's hard when one of the grocery stores don't open until 9 o'clock. So again, we were like, okay, we have an hour. We ended up spending an hour at Menards to start off with, because of all the stuff that we needed to get. So we had a list. We actually stuck to the list perfectly and didn't deviate from the list, didn't go and look around at other stuff. We went, checked the stuff that we needed, and was able to get out of there. But it still ended up taking us about an hour, because there was things that we had to double check with and look at and stuff like that. So when we went, we had to get a door handle for our glass doors. It's like a storm door. We had to get a handle. We had to make sure it was a certain kind because of the holes that were in the door. We wanted to try and get them to match up, so we didn't have to, if we had to cut more holes, it was okay, but we wanted to try and get them to cover up the holes that were already there, because we didn't want to have to like patch up. So this was the storm door that we found out in the garage behind our chest freezer that was probably left by the previous homeowner. And my parents thought that there was one on when they first, like, not when they moved in, but when they were first shown the house. And I guess that it was just put in the the garage, and it had one pump, but it's supposed to have two. And now that I'm thinking about it, guys, I'll come back to my point that I'm going to make in a second. But it had no handle on it either. So my parents thought maybe they took it off and just left it in the garage for them to put back on. So again, that was one of the things we needed. We needed dog food. We needed, what else did we get? We need painter's tape. We needed to get the new paint for the stairs. So the stairs, the top of the stairs is going to match the blue of the cabinets that's in the kitchen. And we got that, but it, again, took a little while because they had to mix the colors and stuff like that. So got that, and then we were also trying to look for our, I'll show you guys, this is gonna be a fun vlog. You guys are gonna see how totally messed up our only kitchen drawer. So you guys can see, right? There's no drawers, those are fake drawers that are underneath the sink. That's the only drawer that we have in the kitchen, right? Now that we put in the new pantry and thing, we have two little drawers over here, right? We had just one drawer in the entire kitchen, which was kind of a pain and whatnot. So this is what the drawer currently looks like. Do you guys see how bent out of shape this drawer is, and how ridiculously crazy this looks? It does not sit flat. It is not like, it is all bent out of place. You guys see this? This is all busted out from the bottom. This drawer has been through. It's been to the ends of the earth, and I feel so bad for it. But we need to get a piece to basically replace this. You guys can see how many fixes my dad has tried to do on here. Put brackets in, he has put all kinds of stuff in. Basically the sliders that were in here, so these guys right up here, this piece broke off, which is the piece that's supposed to hold and attach, you guys can see this to the back part, pretty much. So this was broken, and for a while I think my dad fixed it, and he even got a new one or something like that and tried to replace it, but I don't know, it ended up breaking off, and we've been using it. It never ended up falling through or anything like that, but because this was broken, it ended up, I think the weight bent the entire drawer. And yeah, you guys can tell this obviously did not go over very well. And so that whole drawer is ruined. That was one of the things that was on the list, to see if Menards carried just like replacement drawers. They don't. We also, after we went to Aldi, tried at the Home Depot, because there was a Home Depot near Aldi. So we tried there. It doesn't look like they also have in stock like replacement drawers. So we have to do one of two things. Either try and find, which hopefully won't cost an arm and a leg, to get a custom replacement one online, or else we have to build one, which will also be a little bit of a pain, because we have to basically do all of the little like I don't know, like grind it out sort of to get the bottom to fit in. You know how like a drawer kind of has the bottom snap into the, you know, the base of the box, if that makes sense. So yeah, we spent a while trying to look for this, couldn't find it. Even asked the lady too. Then the other thing too is that we tried to get a new filter for up here, because the filter that we have is just a normal like grease trap. It's not a charcoal filter. So we tried to get that, and unfortunately the one that they had was too small, and so we have to go and exchange that now, because it was quite some, I don't think it was that expensive, but I think it was like at least $12 or something like that. It's not just money we're gonna eat for it not being the right size, which I measured it ahead of time, and it was the closest thing, and it said like, oh, that it didn't say that it fit this type of one, but it said that it fit like 30-inch range hoods, which is what this one was. And I know that there's different sizes and stuff like that. So again, I measured it beforehand, but then my dad was like, oh, well, do you think that they're not accounting for, like, if you guys can see underneath here, there's like this trim sort of part around here, and then the interior part. So my dad was like, well, maybe it's not, because the one we got was a little bit smaller. Not by a whole ton, but by a little bit. It does not fit. So we have to return that. So that was the first thing that ended up our project for the day. Already first off the bat, the thing that we needed to get, and you know, household stuff, replacement and all that kind of stuff, didn't end up panning out. And again, the drawer situation didn't end up panning out. We got the paint for the stairs, which is like a no skid or something like that, indoor outdoor floor paint that's the same brand of the, which I think it's Dutch Boy, of the cabinets. So the stairs can be painted soon as well. So we were able to get that. That seems like it's gonna be fine, unless we go to put it on and find out it's like, you know, green or purple or something. You know, so no, that seems like it's good. But again, we ended up getting this cabinetry, which is now in a bag, because again, there was some other stuff we had to get at Menards, but me and my dad spent the entire day really trying to get this door hung up. We checked it all out, everything fit. We got the handles put on, did everything. It's a little bit confusing because we couldn't figure out how to get the track out so we could actually put the track on and then put it onto the door and then hang the track back up. We didn't realize that there were screws hidden, and we were trying to bang the thing off the wall and it was not working. So, and anyways, we ended up figuring that out, got it off, go to hang it up, and it hangs up fine, and the door actually closes, but it's not closing at the top. The top is super tight, so you pretty much have to like lift it up and try and push it in. And it wasn't, we put one of the pumps on, and it wasn't just pulling it. So we figured out that basically there's a crack on the top part that didn't have a like a groove piece for the track to fit into. And long story short, guys, we spent a whole lot of time trying to hang up the door, only to find out that basically it can't, because then slowly the screws started to actually come out because of the door not sitting flush, I guess, sort of. Or like not sitting actually into the track all the way. So we thought that this whole thing was gonna work and it was gonna be fine, and we measured everything, we checked everything, and it looked like there was nothing, like there was no damage to the door. That's the sad thing, was there was no like visible damage. There was no dents in, you know, because it's like an aluminum but I guess glass door sort of, or whatever. So there was nothing like, you know, there was no dents. There was the like toe kick thing at the bottom was totally fine. You know, I looked at the track and I was like, there's a little bit of, you know, like a couple little like things, but it really wasn't noticeable. And I didn't even know if that was really like factory or like, you know, like factory problem, or if that's how it's actually supposed to look or not. So I was like, oh, this isn't that big of a deal and anything like that. Again, when I was cleaning it yesterday. So no, we ended up finding out that it actually wasn't sitting, and the more and more we kept trying to actually close it, the more and more the screws started to actually pull away from the door, and we realized that we can't do this. Now what I'm thinking is, because we ended up finding only one pump in the garage that was for the bottom one, the bottom part of the door. So basically like how our door sort of looks now is what the other one looked like, but it was just a big square piece of glass. And it was the storm door, so it's the door that goes on the other side of this one. It was really cool. We really liked it, but it was clearly not going to work because it only had one pump at the bottom, and the pump is what pulls the door closed, basically like a screen door or a storm door or whatever. And there was no one for the top part. So what I'm thinking now is that maybe this problem did happen because they didn't put both pumps on like they were supposed to be, because there's still a piece of the pump in the track at the top, or like in the jamb, and there's screw holes in the top of the door, but there was not a pump that came with it. So my thought is maybe, again, when they replaced it or put this new one in, they didn't actually do that, and maybe that's what caused it to crack, now that I'm actually starting to think about it. But we tried a whole bunch of stuff. My dad was like, well, maybe if we can just get the jamb over a little bit more, because it wasn't like a huge big noticeable gap, but again, the more and more we started to notice, it was starting to pull away from the screws, and we were like, we probably actually just need a new door. So what we thought was just going to be an easy, you know, like we were only going to spend about 50 bucks between the pumps and the new hardware for the door, ended up being, we have now all of the stuff for the door and no door because it actually does not fit. And we've lived in the house for about 20 years now, and that door has been out there for 20 years. So I mean, it could have happened over time, but my thought is actually maybe that's, again, it was already possibly broken because it wasn't installed correctly like it was supposed to be, and didn't have the two pumps on it like it was supposed to, because again, when we found it, it only had the one. So my thought is maybe something happened to the top one and they just took it off and never replaced it, thinking that the bottom one would be fine, and it possibly was starting to actually pull away from the door thing, if that makes sense. But then too, all the screw holes were like kind of like stripped, and it was hard to get them in. So yeah, it just seems like, long story short, guys, we spent an entire day working on a project that's not gonna work. So one day I think me and my mom are going to maybe go and get the storm door. We're also gonna paint the front door. I think is gonna be the easy solution, long run, most likely. Replace the door, because I think I was telling you guys there's like a slight fracture in the interior part of the glass that has never affected. It's been like that since before we moved in, but just a slight little fracture on that part of the glass, and the rest of the door is totally fine, and it has been, but the outside is super faded. So I think we're just gonna do it white on the outside, and then eventually when we get siding redone, which might be next summer, we'll figure out if there's a color that we want to get to actually match the front door, or if we want to just leave it white, or if we want to get a brand new door. But it is so faded, guys. I actually, because we had the door open today, you could actually see in more of like the door, like the part where it kind of like, you know, the door jamb part, and you can see how red the door used to be compared to how like sun bleached and yellow it is right now. It looks horrible. So it needs to be, again, at least painted at the minimum. So that will have to be a project for another weekend. But yeah, it stunk. We spent all of our time today outside trying to get this done, and it was hot out today. It was actually super hot, but it was super humid out, and there were just bugs, and I was like, this will just be so worth it once it's up, because it looks so cool. And like, we've never had like a screen or glass, you know, storm door or anything like that on there, but I was just like, oh my gosh, this looks so cool. And like, I don't know, we just, you know, we were really looking forward to that today, and didn't end up working out. So that was the first thing. Then again, the second thing was we couldn't get the drawer taken care of because we don't have a drawer. And on top of that too, I measured, and we ended up getting these, which are the soft closing, like what's it called, like the bracket sliders sort of things, for the drawer. And I measured, these are the exact same size of the ones that were already in there. It's 22 inches. But again, we got that and then never found a drawer. So we can either have to make something or something like that. But the only thing is too is that we also have to get another little thing that we have to add in there too, because the cabinet does not fit all the way. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Basically, it doesn't fit all the way to the side, and these are like side mounts. They had some that were back mounts, but they weren't A, full extension, and B, they didn't hold as much as this one. And again, when this is the biggest and only one of 3 kitchen drawers that you have, like, you know, you probably put a lot of stuff in there, which is why it ended up breaking in the first place. So I ended up spending a lot of time getting to things that ended up actually not being something that we could finish. The other thing too, I was like, oh, well, you know what? It's almost 4th of July weekend, and we had a hammock. We got my dad super long time ago for Father's Day, like when I was little, I think. Not super little, but again, probably a good 10 or so years ago. And we have all the pieces to it. We put it together, and what actually ended up happening was the box was in the garage, and I don't know, it got wet. I think the box did from like the rain or something like that, because we had a leak in the roof for a period of time after the tree fell on the roof. So guys, it's just our lives and the projects that we have to do are just a full-blown like everything. Anyway, so the box was kind of damaged a little bit. My dad saved all the pieces and put them actually all together, but we're missing something that attaches the actual hammock to the actual frame, and so we're gonna have to, like, I don't know, MacGyver something together to try and get it to attach. That's what I think we're gonna go to Menards for again tomorrow, because we also have a couple of other little things that we have to get for projects. Or maybe we're even going to maybe try and measure this wood so that we can build a cabinet, because like that's going to be a huge thing if this cabinet is just sitting on the table for like weeks and weeks and weeks until we can build something or get something. So yeah guys, that's the long story for the day. I thought I'd be like, oh, I can show you guys, you know, we got the door put on, the storm door, or oh, you know, even though we didn't get that done, we got a hammock set up in the backyard. Nope, can't show you guys any of that because none of it's actually done and none of it's finished. And again, we were looking at the drawer and then we're, you know, like trying to figure stuff out. And yeah guys, like I said, we need another piece on top of that too, not just the new drawer, we need another piece too so we can attach the actual bracket to the part of the cabinet. It's gonna be another long story. So and again, trying to find the right pieces and everything like that. I'm just like, why is this like this weekend? Like Matthew actually, the only thing I can say we got done is these cabinet doors were put on. So that one and those 2 up there were put on because Matthew finished painting that. Tomorrow we're going to move the refrigerator out and he's going to paint behind the fridge, that spot, and then also to this part of the pantry, but on this side, because it needs to be painted once the fridge is moved out. So that'll probably be maybe 2 days that we have the fridge pulled out, and it's going to be chaos to try and work in the kitchen because I have a bunch of freezer dinners I actually need to make because the refrigerator is going to be pulled out halfway into the kitchen. So I think we can still leave it plugged in and not have to worry about the what's that called, it being unplugged or the cord being too short or whatever. So that's the only good thing that happened, was that Jack finished painting, or I think he has one more coat of paint on the window that he's going to finish tonight. That'll be done and we can actually get our blinds hung back up because we've been out without those for a while. And then we got, again, 2 or 3, I guess, of the cabinet doors put on. This one and that one up there, we can't have a cabinet door on that because it doesn't open, because it opens when we got the new fridge, it doesn't fit anymore. And that down there is broken too, that little like garage door. So what we're gonna do is take that off, and my mom is gonna do little curtains sort of in there, something like that. And so yeah, that's what we're gonna do for those 2 spots basically, so they're just covered. But yeah, so those aren't even gonna have doors. We're still waiting on these 3 that have to be done, and then all the stuff that's down there. So my dad has got another, I think 4 set up in the garage that he is currently painting right now. So that's the only thing that we got done today. After all of the work that we put in for today, we have nothing to show for it other than we got 3 cabinet doors hung up, and we got our groceries for the week because we went grocery shopping this morning. But I've been up again like since 7:30, and I was like, I feel like I got nothing done. I can't walk around and be like, oh, we got this done, or I got this done and stuff like that. I'm like, I literally feel like I did nothing, because you know, when you work hard and you don't have anything to show for it, you're like, I feel like today was useless. I ended up doing so much stuff that didn't end up mattering in the long run for today. So yeah, guys. And then too, we've got one of the pumps are sitting on the kitchen table. Like, all this stuff has to go outside. I don't know if we're gonna get the door this weekend or this week, and again, it shouldn't most likely take us very long because we figured out the whole mechanics of how everything just pops out and pops back in, and you know, we're just gonna put this thing in and you know, all that kind of stuff. We just have to make sure that the door is the right size, obviously, which I'm thinking that it's probably gonna be, I mean, not super standard, but it basically, the track and everything like that is all in there already. It's just not the door, but everything else is, all the hardware stuff and things like that are in there, but we just don't have a door right now. So we don't have to get the whole, like, you know, thing with the frame. We just have to get a replacement door, which I don't think they cost a super ton amount of money. But again, we thought it was gonna be, oh, a little $50, you know, we're just gonna reuse this one that's out in the garage. No, and yeah, stinks. Again, too, that we have nothing to show for today that we got done. So yeah, anyways, I guess it's sometimes how it goes with projects and stuff like that, but maybe that was the reason too that the previous owners did not have the door up when we moved in, was because it wasn't working anymore, and that would make sense. So yeah, we thought though, we were like, oh, it's in the garage, like all we have to do is put it up. And my mom for a little while didn't want it because she wanted a screen, but then recently we were like, well, it's still out there, like why don't we just put it up instead of having it sit out in the garage? So we did, and again, kind of wasted getting some of this stuff that we didn't actually need right now, because we could have just waited. But now it's like we have this stuff, you know, the extra pieces and stuff like that. Again, the handle and the pumps and stuff like that. We got all that just to find out that, oh hey, no, actually, you know, we can't put the door up, so we didn't need to get that. So now it's kind of like, well, we should get the door because we have the pieces, and the pieces are going to sit around for a really long time, and you know, we're going to forget about them, or they'll get lost or misplaced or separated, and because our garage is a hot mess sometimes. So that is why we are we have got to get to it probably sometime in the near future, not like wait, like, oh, next summer we can do it or something like that, because it might not be able to find this stuff next summer. Because like I said, I remember telling my dad the pieces about the hammock. I remember telling him, don't throw this away, because I'm pretty sure that this goes with the hammock. And we can't find it. Probably somewhere in the garage, but where that is, I don't know. So again, we're going to try and MacGyver some pieces together to see if it will actually work and hold a person, because that's the actual goal of the whole thing, is that people aren't falling it when they're sitting on it. Anyways, guys, I will see you all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you subscribe, and I'll see you all for some shiny pieces tomorrow. So bye, guys.